First contact and demands. The massive screens in the United Nations Emergency Council chamber flickered to life, displaying an image that humanity had both dreamed of and dreaded for centuries. Alien visitors. Admiral Helena Chen stood before the assembled world leaders, her posture rigid as steel, betraying none of the turmoil she felt. The 7 vessels had appeared without warning 3 days ago, bypassing every early detection system Earth had deployed throughout the solar system. The vessels entered Earth orbit at 400 hours UTC, Admiral Chen stated, her voice steady. They positioned themselves in a geosynchronous formation over our major population centers. At 600 hours, they transmitted this message on all frequencies. She nodded to her aide, who activated the recording. A being appeared on screen, humanoid in basic structure, but with iridescent scaled skin and 4 arms that moved with unsettling fluidity. When it spoke, the words came through in perfect English, the result of the aliens having intercepted and analyzed Earth's communications for years before making contact. People of Earth, the alien said, its voice carrying an artificial melody. I am High Overseer Xalath of the Galactic Concordat. Your civilization has been observed and found worthy of acknowledgement. The Concordat extends protection and technological exchange to developing worlds in return for reasonable resource contributions. As per standard protocol, we require a security deposit of 30% of your planet's rare earth elements, particularly neodymium, yttrium, and scandium, along with 20% of your global water reserves. This deposit ensures your place within our collective and guarantees protection from less benevolent forces in the galaxy. The recording paused, and Admiral Chen turned to face the silent chamber. They'd given us 72 hours to comply before they reconsider their generous offer. President Kamara of the African Union rose first. This isn't first contact. This is a shakedown. Precisely, Chen agreed. Our analysis suggests the Concordat follows a pattern. They'd identify isolated technological worlds, demand security deposits, then gradually increase their demands until the planet is effectively stripped of resources. They transmitted a list of materials required. The quantities would devastate our industrial capacity and global ecosystems. Director Zhao of Global Intelligence tapped her datapad. We've been intercepting their internal communications. Their translation systems are sophisticated, but not perfect. When speaking among themselves, they don't use terms like protection or contribution. They use words that translate closer to harvest and acquisition. The Russian Federation's representative leaned forward. What are our options militarily? Admiral Chen's expression remained neutral. Conventional assessment suggests we are outmatched. Their ships demonstrate capabilities beyond our publicly acknowledged technology. The key phrase, publicly acknowledged, hung in the air. For 50 years, Earth had maintained a careful facade. While the world openly developed conventional space technologies, a secret coalition of scientists had pursued quantum-based alternatives hidden in facilities beneath the ocean floor and inside mountain ranges. Director Wei. Chen nodded to a slender man who had remained silent until now. Please brief the Council on Prometheus. Director Wei stood, activating a holographic display that materialized in the center of the chamber. Project Prometheus began as theoretical research into quantum field manipulation. Traditional physics suggests matter can exist in specific states: solid, liquid, gas, plasma. Our breakthrough was discovering that matter can exist in quantum superposition states that conventional scanning technologies cannot detect. The hologram showed a sleek vessel unlike any publicly known Earth ship. The Artemis fleet consists of 27 vessels operating on quantum principles. They don't evade detection. They exist in a state where conventional detection is fundamentally impossible. Murmurs spread through the room as Wei continued. We've deployed the Artemis vessels around the Concordat ships. They've been scanning and analyzing alien technology for the past 48 hours. The Concordat vessels utilize antimatter drives and gravitic weaponry, impressive but predictable extensions of conventional physics. President Kamara's eyes narrowed. You're saying we can fight back? I'm saying, Wei replied carefully, that they don't know what we're capable of. Our quantum field technology operates on principles their science hasn't conceived of. It's not that we're more advanced. We've simply taken a different path. Admiral Chen resumed control of the briefing. The question before this council is not whether we can resist, but how we should respond. Director Zhou's intelligence suggests the Concordat fleet in our orbit is merely an advance force. Challenging them directly could bring their main armada. The Secretary General finally spoke. So we pretend to comply while building our defenses. Exactly, Chen confirmed. Project Aegis has developed a planetary quantum shield. Once fully deployed, it would render their weapons ineffective against Earth. But deployment requires time, approximately 45 days for complete coverage. The council chamber fell silent as the implications settled over the assembled leaders. Finally, the Secretary General looked up. Admiral Chen, assemble a diplomatic team to negotiate with the Concordat. Buy us time. Director Wei, accelerate Aegis deployment. And General Santos. She turned to the head of Earth Defense Forces. Prepare contingencies in case diplomacy fails. As the council dispersed, Admiral Chen and Director Wei remained behind. Will the Artemis fleet remain undetected? Chen asked quietly. Wei's expression was grim. Yes, but there's something you should know. We've detected quantum fluctuations from their ships that our analysts can't explain. They may be concealing capabilities, just as we are. Chen nodded slowly. Then we're both playing the same game. With one critical difference, Wei replied. They think they're the only ones with cards up their sleeve. The diplomatic meeting took place aboard the Concordat command vessel. Earth's delegation, led by Ambassador Rodriguez, maintained a carefully cultivated image of cautious cooperation tinged with appropriate awe. High Overseer Xaleth sat on an elevated platform, all four arms arranged in what their cultural briefing suggested was a position of authority. The Concordat is pleased by Earth's willingness to discuss terms, the alien said. Many civilizations resist initially, only to find cooperation more beneficial. Ambassador Rodriguez bowed slightly. Earth appreciates the opportunity to join the galactic community. However, gathering the resources you request will take time. Our planetary governance requires consensus from multiple nations. Hadlef's skin rippled with patterns that the Earth delegation couldn't interpret. Time is a luxury, Ambassador. Other interested parties have noted Earth's potential. The Concordat offers protection, but we require commitment. Other parties. Rodriguez asked, feigning concern. The galaxy is not uniformly civilized, Saleth replied. The Vex hegemony, for instance, doesn't request contributions. They take them, along with populations for labor. Behind the scenes, every word was being analyzed by Earth's intelligence team. The threat was clear: comply with the Concordat, or face worse alternatives. We understand, Rodriguez said, maintaining a carefully worried expression. Perhaps a show of good faith. A small initial contribution while we organize the full security deposit. Xaleth conferred briefly with other Concordat representatives. Acceptable. 10% of the requested materials within your 72-hour window would demonstrate serious intent. As the Earth delegation departed, the Concordat representatives were unaware that quantum sensors had mapped their entire vessel, cataloging technologies and weaknesses. They also didn't notice the quantum-shifted probe that remained behind, recording their private conversations once the humans had left. Back on Earth, Admiral Chen reviewed the intelligence gathered. The recordings were damning. The Concordat representatives discussed Earth as a Grade A acquisition, with plans to gradually increase demands until Earth was reduced to an extraction colony. They've already scheduled resource harvesting teams, Director Zhao reported. According to their communications, they'd done this 17 times before. They don't consider us a threat, just another primitive world to be stripped of value. Admiral Chen's expression hardened. Then they've made a fundamental error in judgment. Humanity doesn't respond well to threats. In the depths of the Pacific Ocean, in a facility unknown to all but a handful of people, Project Aegis accelerated. Quantum generators powered up worldwide, hidden in plain sight as research installations and power plants. In orbit, the Artemis fleet maintained their quantum-shifted state, invisible sentinels monitoring the Concordat vessels. The clock was ticking. Earth had 45 days to complete its defenses before the Concordat's patience ran out. But as Admiral Chen reminded the Emergency Council, humanity had faced extinction-level threats before, from within and without. Each time, innovation and determination had prevailed. "They think they've found sheep," she told the assembled leaders. "They're about to discover wolves." The hidden shield. The Aegis Control Center, buried deep beneath the Antarctic ice shelf, hummed with activity as Dr. Eliza Okonkwo studied the deployment map. Glowing blue lines represented the quantum shield network gradually spreading across the globe, currently at 42% coverage. It wasn't enough. "Status report," Admiral Chen requested as she entered the facility, snow still melting from her Arctic gear. "We've accelerated deployment by reallocating resources from secondary facilities," Dr. Okonkwo replied, not looking up from her displays. "Major population centers have priority coverage. Remote regions will remain vulnerable until final deployment." The Concordat ships, still in orbit, still scanning. "They've accepted our initial good faith contribution, but internal communications suggest they're growing suspicious of our delays." This was the delicate balance Earth needed to maintain, appearing cooperative while concealing their true capabilities. The mineral samples provided to the Concordat had been carefully prepared to appear valuable while containing subtle isotopic markers that Earth's quantum sensors could track, revealing the aliens' processing methods and technological limitations. "We intercepted new communications," Director Zhao said, joining them at the central console. "The Concordat has moved up their timetable. They're demanding the full security deposit within 15 days, not the 45 they initially implied." Chen's expression remained neutral, but her eyes hardened. "They suspect something." "It's worse than that," Zhao continued. "They've requested permission from their central command to conduct a resource survey of Earth's oceans, focusing on the Pacific region." Dr. Okonkwo looked up sharply. "They'll detect the Aegis generators." "Not if we accelerate the quantum shifting," said a new voice. Director Y entered the command center, looking exhausted after 3 days without sleep. "We can extend the quantum field around the Pacific facilities immediately. It won't stop their scanning, but it will return false readings." Admiral Chen nodded. "Do it. We need more time." On the diplomatic front, Ambassador Rodriguez continued negotiations, using every delay tactic in the diplomatic playbook. Cultural misunderstandings were manufactured, clarifications requested, and minor concessions offered to maintain the appearance of good faith. High Overseer Xalath's patience was visibly thinning. "The Concordat has been exceptionally accommodating," the alien said during their 5th meeting. "Yet Earth continues to delay. Perhaps a demonstration of the consequences of non-compliance would clarify our position." The threat hung in the air, carefully calibrated to intimidate without explicitly stating intentions. Rodriguez maintained his composure, but inwardly, the entire diplomatic team recognized the critical juncture they had reached. "Such a demonstration would be unnecessary," Rodriguez replied smoothly. "Earth understands the Concordat's position. Our logistical challenges reflect our genuine limitations, not reluctance." The meeting concluded with tense formality, and as the Earth delegation departed, emergency communications alerted them to developments at home. The Concordat had deployed scanning probes toward Earth's oceans without awaiting permission. Admiral Chen convened an emergency session of the Council. "The probes are targeting our Pacific Aegis generators with remarkable precision," she reported. "Either they detected energy signatures, or they have intelligence we're unaware of." "Options?" the Secretary General asked. "Limited," Chen replied. "If we destroy the probes, We reveal capabilities we're trying to hide. If we allow them to scan unimpeded, they may discover Aegis. Director Wei spoke up. There's a third option. We activate a partial quantum shift around the targeted facilities, just enough to distort their readings without confirming our technology. The risk? Asked President Camara. They'll know something is interfering with their scans, but won't understand what. It could accelerate their timeline further, but it prevents them from confirming what we're hiding. The Council approved the measure. Within hours, the Aegis facilities shifted partially into quantum states, causing the Concordat probes to return contradictory data. As predicted, this only increased the aliens' suspicion. The response came swiftly. Without warning, a concentrated energy beam from the Concordat command vessel struck an uninhabited island in the Pacific. The explosion was visible from space, leaving a crater 2 kilometers wide where the island had been. Worldwide news networks captured the demonstration, causing panic across Earth. The Concordat's message followed on all frequencies. The Concordat regrets this necessary demonstration. Further delays will result in similar demonstrations in populated areas. You have 72 hours to deliver the full security deposit. In the council chamber, silence reigned as the transmission ended. The Secretary General was the first to speak. They shown their hand. This was never about protection or membership. It was always about conquest. Admiral Chen nodded. Aegis is at 61% deployment. We cannot achieve full coverage in 72 hours, but we can protect major population centers and critical infrastructure. And the Artemis fleet? General Santos asked. Ready, but still outnumbered if the Concordat brings reinforcements. Director Wei cleared his throat. There's another option. Project Helios. The room grew even quieter. Helios was the offensive complement to Aegis. Quantum weapons designed to bypass conventional defenses by shifting their state until the moment of impact. Helios remains untested in actual combat, Wei cautioned, but simulation results are promising. The Secretary General's expression was grim. We've tried diplomacy. We've bought as much time as we could. If we surrender our resources as demanded, Earth becomes another extraction colony for the Concordat. I believe it's time to reveal that humanity is not as defenseless as they believe. The vote was unanimous. Operation Defiance would commence just before the Concordat's deadline expired. Earth would present a carefully calibrated response, enough to demonstrate capabilities beyond what the aliens expected, but not enough to reveal their full hand. In the final hours before the deadline, Admiral Chen addressed the commanders of the Artemis fleet from the Aegis Control Center. The Concordat believes they face a primitive civilization, ripe for harvesting, she said, her voice steady. Our response must be measured. We demonstrate just enough strength to make them reconsider without provoking their full armada. She turned to the deployment map, now showing 67% coverage, the maximum that they could achieve before the deadline. Quantum shields will activate simultaneously worldwide. The Artemis fleet will decloak only partially, just 3 vessels as a demonstration of capability. Helios weapons remain in reserve unless directly attacked. Captain Maya Lindbergh of the Artemis flagship Odysseus spoke up on the secure channel. And if they escalate, then we respond in kind, Chen replied, her eyes hard. Humanity has never submitted to extortion. We won't start now. As the deadline approached, the world held its breath. Public broadcasts showed images of the Concordat ships looming in orbit, ominous shadows against the stars. What the public didn't see were the Artemis vessels positioning themselves in a strategic formation, ready to emerge from their quantum state at the precise moment. In the Aegis Control Center, Dr. Okonkwo initiated the final deployment sequence. Quantum field generators at maximum capacity. Shield harmonics synchronized. Awaiting your command, Admiral. Chen looked at the countdown timer. 2 hours until the Concordat's deadline expired. She made her decision. We don't wait for their ultimatum. Operation Defiance begins now. Throughout Earth's atmosphere, Invisible quantum fields began to solidify, forming a protective barrier unlike anything the Concordat had encountered before. In orbit, 3 Artemis vessels shifted their quantum state, becoming visible to conventional sensors for the first time. The message Earth broadcast to the Concordat was brief and clear. "This is Admiral Helena Chen of Earth Defense Command. Your demands have been considered and rejected. The demonstration of your weapons has been noted. Now, allow us to provide a demonstration of our own." On her command, a precisely calibrated Helios pulse struck the smallest of the Concordat vessels, not to destroy, but to disable its propulsion systems. The quantum-shifted energy bypassed the alien shields completely, leaving the vessel adrift in orbit. High Overseer Xalat's response was immediate, his artificial voice betraying actual emotion for the first time. "This aggression will not stand. The full might of the Concordat will reduce your world to ash." Admiral Chen allowed herself a small, cold smile as she replied, "You are welcome to try." Part 3. Humanity's Warning. The Concordat fleet responded exactly as Earth had predicted. Energy weapons blazed from their 6 operational ships, targeting major cities around the globe. Each beam struck the now visible quantum shield and dispersed harmlessly, like water hitting a pane of glass. On screens worldwide, civilians watched in awe as the deadly attack dissolved into spectacular light shows across the sky. In the Aegis Control Center, Dr. Okonkwo monitored the shield integrity. Quantum harmonics stable at 94%. "Their weapons are impressive but fundamentally incompatible with our defensive technology." Admiral Chen nodded, watching the tactical display as the Concordat ships adjusted their positions, clearly preparing for a second volley. Status of Artemis Fleet. All vessels holding position. Captain Lindbergh reported from the Odysseus. The remaining 24 ships are still quantum-shifted and undetected. The Concordat's second attack came with increased power, nearly double the energy output of their first attempt. Again, the quantum shields held, though the drain on Earth's power grid was substantial. The aliens were learning, adapting their approach, but they still fundamentally misunderstood the nature of what they faced. High Overseer Xalat's transmission carried an edge of disbelief. "Your defenses were not in our assessment. Explain this technology immediately." Admiral Chen allowed the transmission to play throughout the command center, but didn't immediately respond. Let them wonder, let them worry. Every minute of confusion was a strategic advantage. Director Wei stepped forward. "Admiral, they're scanning with frequencies we haven't seen before. These aren't standard detection methods. They are attempting to locate our quantum generators. Can they succeed?" "Theoretical calculations suggest, yes, given enough time," Wei admitted. "Our quantum shift isn't impenetrable, just beyond their current understanding. They're adapting faster than we anticipated." Chen made her decision. "Then we move to Phase 2 before they can adapt further. Captain Lindbergh, prepare the Artemis fleet for synchronized key-shifting." On her command, the full might of Earth's secret fleet became visible in orbit. 27 sleek, obsidian vessels materialized around the Concordat ships in a perfect containment formation. The effect was both tactical and psychological, a sudden revelation that Earth possessed not just defensive capabilities, but an offensive force that had been invisible to them all along. Chen opened a channel to Xalat's vessel. "High Overseer, you entered Earth's solar system under false pretenses. You demanded tribute under the guise of protection. You threatened our people and attacked our world when we delayed. Now you face a choice. Withdraw immediately, or learn exactly how many more surprises Earth has prepared." The Concordat ships froze in position, their energy signatures fluctuating as if in confusion. Internal communications intercepted by Earth's intelligence systems revealed chaos among the alien command, arguments about impossible technologies, and whether to retreat or summon reinforcements. "They're activating faster-than-light communications," Director Zhao reported, "attempting to contact their main fleet." Chen nodded to Captain Lindbergh. "Disable their communications array. Quantum precise." No collateral damage. The Odysseus fired a pinpoint Helios beam that struck the Concordat command vessel's communication spire. The quantum-shifted energy materialized directly inside the protected system, bypassing all shielding. The spire went dark. HFY's next transmission contains something new: uncertainty. This technology defies known physics. The Concordat offers cessation of hostilities to discuss scientific exchange. A remarkable change of tone, the Secretary General observed from her position in the command center. From demands to offers in the span of a single demonstration. Admiral Chen's expression remained impassive. They're stalling, hoping to learn more about our capabilities while they consider options. Let them stall, Director Wee suggested. Every minute strengthens our position. Aegis is now at 72% coverage and rising. The longer they observe our technology in action, the more psychological impact it creates. Chen agreed, but with a caveat. We maintain combat readiness. Captain Lindbergh, position half the Artemis fleet in quantum shift, visible to us, but not to them. Let them wonder how many more ships we might reveal next. The diplomatic team, led once again by Ambassador Rodriguez, prepared for negotiations from a position of newfound strength. The meeting would take place on neutral ground, an orbital platform hastily prepared for the encounter. Before Rodriguez departed, Admiral Chen gave final instructions. Make our position absolutely clear. Earth is not interested in aggression or expansion, but we will not tolerate threats or extraction of our resources. Any peaceful exchange must be equitable and respectful. On the orbital platform, the atmosphere was markedly different from previous encounters. High Overseer Xaleth no longer sat elevated above the human delegation. Instead, the meeting took place with representatives from both sides at the same level, a small but significant concession to equality. The Concordat acknowledges a miscalculation regarding Earth's development level. Xaleth began, skin patterns shifting in what analysts now identified as patterns of discomfort. Your technological path is unprecedented in our experience of over 300 civilizations. Ambassador Rodriguez maintained professional courtesy while conceding nothing. Earth has developed in isolation, following our own scientific intuition. We remained quiet about our capabilities because we wished to understand your intentions before revealing our hand. A wise precaution, Xaleth admitted. The Concordat would like to propose a revised relationship, one of mutual exchange rather than the previous arrangement, and the 17 other worlds that provide security deposits to your Concordat. Rodriguez asked pointedly. What of them? Xaleth's skin patterns froze momentarily. You have been monitoring our communications. Comprehensively, Rodriguez confirmed. Earth's terms are simple. The Concordat will withdraw from our solar system immediately. You will release all subjugated worlds from their tributary status. Future contact will occur only through proper diplomatic channels, with full transparency of intentions. The Concordat cannot simply abandon established arrangements with other worlds. Xaleth protested. Our economic structure will need to evolve, Rodriguez interrupted firmly. Consider your position carefully, High Overseer. Earth has revealed only a fraction of our capabilities. We have no desire for conflict, but we will not allow the continued exploitation of vulnerable civilizations. As the negotiations continued in orbit, Admiral Chen received an urgent alert from Earth's long-range sensors. Multiple faster-than-light signatures had been detected at the edge of the solar system. The Concordat's main fleet had arrived. 17 vessels, General Santos reported, larger than the advance force, but not the armada we feared. Chen evaluated the tactical display. They're holding position just beyond Neptune's orbit, observing, not advancing. They received some communication before we disabled their array. A show of force, the Secretary General suggested, or reinforcements for a counterattack. General Santos countered. Admiral Chen studied the energy signatures of the newly arrived ships. No, they're uncertain. They expected to find their advance force in control of a subdued planet. Instead, they found their ships contained by technology they don't understand. She made her decision. Activate the quantum buoys. Throughout the outer solar system, previously invisible defensive platforms shifted into conventional space. These weren't warships but automated sentinels. Earth's early warning system suddenly revealed as a defensive perimeter that had been monitoring all approaches to the solar system for years. The message to the Concordat reinforcement fleet was brief. Your advance force is currently engaged in diplomatic negotiations following hostile actions against Earth. Any approach beyond your current position will be considered an escalation of conflict. Earth recommends patience while new terms are established. In the orbital conference room, Ambassador Rodriguez received notification of the developments. Without breaking his diplomatic composure, he addressed Salaf. It seems your reinforcements have arrived. They should know that Earth's defensive perimeter now extends throughout our solar system. We would prefer peaceful resolution, but we are prepared for alternatives. Adlef conferred briefly with his aides before responding. The Concordat proposes an immediate non-aggression pact. We will withdraw both fleets from your system within 24 Earth hours. Further diplomatic contact can be established through neutral channels and the other worlds under Concordat control. Rodriguez pressed. The hitless skin displayed patterns of resignation. We will review those arrangements in light of this new understanding of galactic capabilities. When the final agreement was transmitted to Earth, the Emergency Council reviewed each clause carefully. The terms were better than they had hoped for, not just protection for Earth, but the groundwork for intervention on behalf of other exploited worlds. They're retreating not just from Earth, but from their entire conquest strategy, Director Zhao observed. Our demonstration has implications beyond our solar system. The Secretary General nodded. We've changed the equation. They built their power on the assumption that younger civilizations develop along predictable technological paths. We've shattered that assumption. As the Concordat ships prepared for departure, Admiral Chen sent a final message to High Overseer Salaf. A message intended not just for the Concordat, but for any other galactic powers who might consider Earth an easy target in the future. The people of Earth developed in isolation, forging our own path among the stars. We have no interest in conquest or domination, but we will defend ourselves with absolute resolve. Remember what you learned here today, and spread the word throughout the galaxy. Earth is not for taking. When the last Concordat ship vanished into faster-than-light travel, celebrations erupted across Earth. Humanity had faced its first encounter with a hostile galactic power and emerged not just intact, but with newfound respect in the cosmos. In the quiet of the Aegis Control Center, Admiral Chen stood with Director Wei and Dr. Okonkwo, watching the deployment map as the quantum shield reached 85% coverage. We continue the deployment, Chen instructed, and accelerate the Artemis expansion program. The galaxy now knows we exist, and others will come, some with better intentions than the Concordat, some with worse. We changed the rules of engagement today, Wei observed. The assumption that technological development follows a linear path has been disproven. Other civilizations will reassess their approaches to first contact. Chen nodded. Humanity has always excelled at the unexpected. It's our greatest defensive advantage in a universe of threats, and our greatest gift in a universe of possibilities. As Earth took its place among the stars, the message spread throughout the galaxy. This small blue planet had charted its own course, developing technologies that defied conventional understanding. They sought neither conquest nor submission, but would not tolerate threats or exploitation. The silent signal was clear to all who received it. Approach Earth with respect, or do not approach at all.